or the universe, whatever.
I don't believe in that evil. So the APA issued new guidelines, basically saying that traditional masculinity was harmful. So obviously, a bunch of conservatives and men rights activists came out on the Twitters and beat their chests and were like, you take it back. There's absolutely nothing wrong with masculinity. You take it back.
Of course.
And the APA came back and was like, okay, listen, we hear you, but what we're saying is some traits that have been traditionally masculine, taken to their extreme, can be harmful to men and boys. Because one of the things that the APA is trying to grapple with is how to better care for men who seek therapy under the backdrop of data that shows that, one, men are more likely, I think it's like 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women.
Whoa.
They're way less likely to seek help. And they're way more likely to feel like any failure at all is their fault.
Ooh, that makes sense. Wow.
Yeah. I think the idea is women are more able to see how they contributed to it, but they don't take responsibility for things that, but say for example, say for example, a husband loses his job and it goes into their house goes into foreclosure.
Right.
Men may be less likely to mitigate their own feelings of fault in that type of situation, which of course could lead to really harmful mental health outcomes.
Yeah.
So the APA is trying to figure out a way to provide better care.
Right.
And so conservatives came out and were like, you don't get to say this. There's nothing wrong with masculinity. There's nothing wrong with men. Stop trying to feminize men. Basically all those arguments that come out. Jesus. And so it's a hard thing, right? Because what you don't want to do is come out and first let's go back.
Okay.
First, there's this thing that's happening in the public sphere where you're not allowed, we're talking about masculinity and we're talking about femininity without talking about whether these things are innate or sociologically constructed.
Right.
So obviously, if you're of the camp that you feel like it's, completely innate, you feel some type of way when someone comes out and says something's wrong with masculinity. Right. Because a lot of men believe that the way men behave is 100% just biologically how they are.
Well, they're supposed to be.
Exactly.
With a capital S.
Saying that anything's wrong with it is basically saying that men it's equal to saying men shouldn't exist.
Right. Yeah. And men are our enemies.
Exactly.
That's like what
exactly. And in some ways, I see why they're so up in an uproar, basically, right? Because that's a hurtful thing to receive,
right?
Especially if it seems like all of society and all of these academics and people who seem to shape the world in your eyes are coming out and saying these things.
Right.
But I think the reality is we need to all step back as a society and have a conversation about, wait, what is masculinity and femininity at all?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because
what is that?
I mean, I don't know and see, that's the thing, because I don't know if femininity, femininity could reach a level to be toxic, or it's dangerous or whatever. I guess it could, because she could be hurting herself. And she was allowing herself to go be,
Yeah. I mean, there's negative aspects of femininity for sure.
Yeah. But she'd be hurting herself. Like men, though, with, when it gets to toxic levels. Now, we're talking, that's why we put the word toxic in front of it, because masculinity in and of itself is just a thing. Like, it's not, it's just the way a person is.
It's a series. It's a lot of different personality traits in one.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily mean something evil, right? That's why you put the word toxic in front of it. Because, it gets to a level at a certain time, like when men behave a certain way, that it's toxic. And it's actually dangerous for other people around this person. Especially, if they're in a relationship or something like that, and they have reason to explode, if they're like the guy that's, somebody, whatever happens, I gotta prove that I'm a man. And that's mostly what toxic masculinity is I have to prove that I am a man.
Yeah.
I have to be a man.
And I think, so that's why I wanted to talk about this, because I wanted to talk about it because I think there's something deeper there.
Yeah.
I don't think the situation just be, all these crazy conservatives, haha, you don't understand anything, get out of here. Because I think there is this sort of when we talk about toxic masculinity, I think for a lot of people, they don't hear anything else. All they hear is you think men are bad.
Right.
And obviously that's intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
But I think too, we have to talk about the hard facts, right? The hard facts are most women that are killed by intimate partners that are men.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the violence, crime that any society experiences is mostly perpetrated by men. I'd say
99.5% of all rape.
Yeah, like by cisgendered males. Like the vast majority of, sexual abuse, sexual assault, so many things. I mean, wars. I mean, so many things are basically, they're difficult, but at the same time, it's mostly been men doing that. Yeah. And so the arguments that I kept seeing so often were, we should be thankful, like men have to be this way. Society wouldn't be what it is without that. And it's so kind of weird to me because I'm like, that's weird to say because you're basically saying that we're as good as we can be right now.
Yeah.
Like,
if it wasn't for us being awful,
yeah, exactly.
We wouldn't have buildings.
All of this domestic violence is necessary if it means I get an iPod. Yeah. Like, my iPhone rested on the fucking Korean War happening.
Exactly.
Like, we needed the Korean War.
Equals technology.
Exactly. Like, you should be kissing men at your feet because we have, like, electricity, And I get sad about that because I'm like
you said it.
It could have just been better. Like, there are lots of wars that were completely pointless.
They were nuts.
Like
Vietnam.
Completely pointless. And not saying that it was just like men being crazy, which is the reason why war happened. But, I mean, a lot of these things probably could have been dealt with diplomatically.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Because do we really need to blow up 2 fucking islands?
Exactly. And
do
so
we really need to do that?
Yeah. So that's what the APA was trying to...
Excuse me. Wow.
Woo.
Okay. I'm good. I'm okay.
Okay. So that's what the APA was trying to address. It's not necessarily that men's, I guess, men's...
who they are innately. Like, who they are.
Yeah, or not even innately, but like the fact that they more likely to take risks and to be aggressive and to be leaders, that in and of itself isn't bad.
Right.
But there comes a point where if you are too aggressive and you cannot be anything but in charge and you are not willing to reach out for help when you need it, that those things together end up creating really shitty situations for not only the men involved, but the people that they love and care about. And I think that that's so clear when we're looking at everything that was going on this week. I mean, between fucking or even the last couple weeks, between Trump. Trump and the fucking shutdown, Kevin Hart and his non-fucking apology about his homophobia, and then Louis C.K. showing his whole ass again.
Yeah.
I just am really...
Unbelievable. I'm
like, so we shouldn't have a conversation about masculinity because I feel like... Because, even I, I'm a woman. I'm definitely a cisgender woman, and I understand... I understand how sometimes there are aspects of being a woman and being feminine that bother me. For example, I have this... because I've been taught ways this way for so long, and it's so put on in society, in everything, every type of media you can imagine, of the caring woman, right? Right. That, does everything for everybody. So at my job, for example, I'm a manager, and there is so much pressure all the time on female managers to constantly do extra for their team members, because we can't just be their managers. We have to be their teachers, their coaches, their moms, their calendars, their note takers, their nurturers. And then also bring in donuts every Friday and make sure you're giving them this and giving them that and giving them this. And so
you gotta give them their toothbrush and tell them to wash behind their ears.
Meanwhile, dude managers and just the dudes there in general just fucking show up.
Right.
They show up, they do their fucking job, and they leave.
Go the fuck home.
That's it. There's just no pressure whatsoever to be the person to be liked and to be someone that everyone thinks is kind and nurturing and whatever.
They don't have to think about how people think about them at all.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
They don't have to view how other people view them.
Exactly. And I feel
what I mean? Like,
women, or at least I feel like I constantly have to...
You're constantly thinking about
gratiate people. Like, I have to constantly basically make people happy to take... Like, I feel like I take up space.
Right.
And I feel like I'm constantly having to get permission to take up space.
Exactly. Because you're constantly thinking about how white people or white males view you, or you're constantly
it's not just white people though, it's everybody.
People,
I mean, even black people have a strong, I mean, like, misogyny is really strong in the black community too. Like,
but the fact that your identity is outside of the norm, you're constantly
I see what you're saying. Yes, I'm even more
thinking about how I look to the
exactly because I'm like the idea of taking up space is so. It's kind of scary because women are not supposed to take up space. Like, we are socialized to not take up space, and when we do, not heard. Exactly. And when we do, it's because we're providing something for someone else. We're making the food. We're taking care of the children. We're organizing the things. We're cleaning the things. Like, we are only
actually
in the
doing
space.
All this stuff that the men sit back and enjoy.
Exactly. And so that's a part of the pressure on, like, women managers to do more, because we want to always keep people happy and like happy that we're in their space. Or at least that's how I condition myself to think about it. Or how I've like worked out how to think about it, I guess. So I just wanted to sort of talk about that. Like, let's talk about this, like, Trump and the shutdown. I'm so embarrassed.
I'm embarrassed. I'm
so embarrassed.
Honestly, I really am. I mean, and we saw from that. Honestly, that first video. So you said, I mean, it was Trump that wanted the media to be there.
Yes. So that very first video with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Yeah. It happened about right before the shutdown. Nancy and Chuck really told him, like, strongly, you don't want cameras at this. Yeah. But he thought he was going to go in and do his strongman thing.
Right. Well, and it was so weird because he's constantly like, the Democrats this, the Democrats that. And Chuck Schumer was like, we don't want to shut down the government.
Yes, let's make that clear.
I put an N in the word government. Did you hear that? Okay? I enunciated. And he said that, like, I feel like he said it fucking 7 times. Yeah. And then finally, at the end, Trump was just like, okay, if we don't get exactly what I want, yes, we will shut the government down for weeks, months, and even years. I don't care, okay? I need my steel wall, okay?
Which is now not that...
Unbelievable. It's not
Wait,
steel.
Yes, it is steel. It was
steel.
supposed to be concrete, yeah.
Concrete, yeah. It was supposed to be concrete.
Of course, that was not going to fucking happen.
Fuck no. Fuck no. What the fuck? Who's going to do that? Like, I don't know. It's just insane. Like,
you just get so overwhelmed. You're just like, I don't know what to say.
I'm so frustrated.
It's interesting because all of this whole game right now that's being played, because let's be real, to him this is a game. He doesn't care. I mean, by just admitting that he's fine with it going on for weeks and months and years, it's just like, whoa, bro, what do you think the fuck this is? We can't possibly, like, you're going to be impeached before that.
Right.
Like, what are you
because
talking about?
Everybody's not going to have a fucking job, you dumbass. Like, they're all going to walk out and be,
You're, like, you're a dummy. Like, the amount of money we're missing out on right now with all the museums being closed is just, it's ridiculous. It's for someone who's so concerned about us wasting money. Anyway, so, the whole thing right now, this whole game that's being played right now, is all based on this bullshit, corporate, hyper masculine, aggressive idea of negotiation and walking away with you're getting a win out of it and walking away with your head held high because you can't ever look weak.
Right.
You can't ever look weak.
Right. No.
And it's never okay to say, hey, I miscalculated.
Right.
Let's turn around.
Like, I kind of fucked up, man. Like, maybe this wasn't the hill to die on. Like, maybe I shouldn't have. And it reminds me of, like, Pawn Stars or something like, well, this is the price I'm going with. And then they get up, like, all dramatically. Sorry, man. This is the price that I need. And then they, like, get up and they start to walk away. right? But that's just part of the ploy.